Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to this very confusing video. And this is a warning I give to all the viewers. You may finish this video without understanding a single thing. And you'll come to know why very soon. Let's begin the topic of the video. We all know that Dr. Jordan Peterson had a discussion with Mohammed Hijab, which will be broadcasted later. And we all know some people cried about it, and one of those who cried about it is our dear friend Ridwan. And I even made a video about it, exposing the hypocrisy of Ridwan. You can see the link of the video above. It's titled Jordan Peterson should have cancelled his discussion with Mohammed Hijab. However, yesterday I had a conversation with Ridwan on Twitter. I'm not going to say much. Let's go and read the conversation I have with Ridwan. So here we have Dr. Jordan Peterson tweeting this. The UK is much less masked than Canada. Why? Is the virus less deadly here, or are people simply braver? Then he gets a response from Ridwan. Are you still honest and consistent with your ideas? Do you still condemn totalitarianism and violence? Are you still opposed to oppressors? Why are you suddenly cuddling with Islamists who openly dehumanize others and treat them in the worst ways possible? I responded to say, Ridwan, aren't you the same person who said that we should listen to both sides? You gave people a lecture about having to allow everyone to speak and listen to both sides, then decide. And I put a link to my video. Then Ridwan said, yes, I said we should talk and listen to both sides. I did not say we should befriend everyone, despite their behavior and their views. Learn to think, you imbecile. So based on this tweet, it seems that Ridwan didn't have a problem with Jordan Peterson talking to Mohammed Hijab, which amazed me. So I replied, brilliant. So you're now okay with Dr. Peterson hosting Mohammed Hijab and talking to him, like you talked to Danniel Haqiqatjue in your channel for 4 hours. I promise you I'll make your fans admit that you are a clown. What I meant here is he contradicted himself, because he's now saying, yeah, it's okay to talk to people and listen to both sides, but don't befriend them. And that's not what he said in the past 1 week. He kept saying that Dr. Peterson should not talk to Mohammed Hijab. So I pointed out the contradiction, and then I get this deflection from Ridwan. Are you unable to comprehend what you are reading? And why are you trying to sound so reasonable under Jordan's tweet? Anyway, what about all the insults? He's trying to deflect. He didn't want to answer and expose his double standards. So I insisted. Nice way to avoid responding to the question. I repeated the question. Do you have no problem with Dr. Peterson hosting Hijab just like you hosted Danniel in your channel for 4 hours? Is that a difficult question to answer? Or do you realize that answering it will expose your stupidity and hypocrisy? And then I got the most surprising reply from Ridwan. Let's read it. Do you know what befriend means? No, I have no problem hosting anyone. In fact, I believe Jordan Peterson should host Danniel Haqiqatjue on his channel. I would pay for it. Hosting people of different views is not what this is about. It was a mind-blowing response, because think about it, this guy has been for a week he was harassing Dr. Peterson time and again about this. Why do you host Mohammed Hijab? Now we have a different position. He had no issue with Dr. Peterson hosting Mohammed Hijab or hosting Danniel Haqiqatjue. Now, few minutes later, I saw this tweet of Ridwan, this reply to Dr. Peterson. You think woke culture is a threat to democracy? What about the Islamist ideology? Do you think Islam is worse? And then he got this response from this guy who said that yes, wokeism is far worse than Islam. So Ridwan give this response. Islam is in a position to implement Sharia and to introduce extremely abhorrent rules. Jordan is talking to people who defend exactly these views. This is the problem. You have no idea what you're talking about. And this is very weird. This just, few minutes later. Just few minutes after the previous conversation. So I said to Ridwan, you have the memory of a 4-year-old boy. Just few minutes ago, you said you have no problem with talking to people who have questionable views, provided that he doesn't befriend them. And then Ridwan replied, and where did I say that talking to them is wrong? Here, mate, here it is. Jordan is talking to people who defend exactly these views. This is the problem. You have no idea what you're talking about. Here you are clearly suggesting that talking to them is wrong. Now let's leave all of this confusion aside and let's ask a question. Did Ridwan objected to Dr. Peterson hosting Mohammed Hijab? Because that's what we all remember. Several Dawah guys made videos about it. I myself made a video about it, criticizing Ridwan's hypocrisy about objecting to Dr. Peterson hosting Mohammed Hijab, when he himself sat with Mohammed Hijab for 2 hours. So we all remember that Ridwan cried for over a week about this podcast. But now Ridwan is saying that he doesn't mind talking to people like Danniel Haqiqatjue and Mohammed Hijab. He's just objecting to befriending them, becoming friends with them. So to be fair to Ridwan, I wanted to check if he did or not. So I went through his past tweets on this topic. And let's read them together. Let's begin with this one. As soon as Dr. Peterson announced that his discussion with Mohammed Hijab was recorded. That's a bad decision. The people you greet have no respect for human life. The person you hosted is a known liar who has made personal threats and rape implications about my wife and others. These people think that apostates like myself should be executed. This is not normal. The next one. We informed Jordan Peterson's team about Mohammed Hijab's actions and words, including incitement of suicide, sexual assault implication, and the idea that Western women want to be captured by Muslim men. They act shocked and told us they would, of course, cancel the podcast. Now Jordan Peterson announces that he did record a podcast with him about Islam and that it will be published soon. Is Jordan Peterson aware of what kind of a person he's legitimizing? Would a Christian or a white nationalist also get away with such behavior and be respectfully hosted on the Jordan Peterson podcast? Why does he give credibility to people who advocate for a world where free thinkers are supposed to be exterminated? Is this in alignment with Jordan Peterson's views? The next one. Dear Jordan Peterson, you should not feel bad about not talking to this person. The next one, in response to a Muslim who was saying that this is just free speech. Being an advocate of free speech has nothing to do with whether you may find certain speech detestable or even unacceptable. Stop learning such things from your dumb Dawah boys. The next one. I don't think you should host people who tell people to commit suicide and who say that Western women secretly want to be captured and raped. The next one. If a Christian apologist told specific people to commit suicide and engage in targeted harassment, including rape threats to family members, or justified their killing, would you ignore this and host them for a fun discussion? Why give Muslim apologists a special treatment? The next one. Did you try to vet this guest and see if he's suitable for a discussion? Have you looked into this, for example? The next one. Do you think Western women who criticize Islam secretly want to be captured and used as sex slaves by Muslim men? Does this sound absolutely detestable? Well, your guest thinks exactly that by his own admission. And the last one is a reply on YouTube. I told Ridwan that he should not object to Jordan Peterson's discussion with Mohammed Hijab since he himself sat with Mohammed Hijab for 2 hours. And his response was, as for Hijab, me agreeing to stay on a stream that I'm lured into by the same guy who just rejected my online debate offer is quite different from receiving a platform from Jordan Peterson. So all these comments show clearly, without a shred of doubt, that Ridwan was against Jordan Peterson's decision to host Mohammed Hijab. Now, wallahi, I don't know what to say. I'll leave it to you guys. Now, I've never in my life, wallahi, I'm serious. I'm not saying this to upset Ridwan or his fanboys. No, I've never in my life seen any individual who contradict himself multiple times. In a fraction of seconds, he's willing to contradict himself. And the fact that his fanboys cannot see this is absolutely mind-blowing. Anyways, I leave it to you guys. And I'm sure that, as I told you at the beginning of the video, you've understood nothing. What's Ridwan's position? We don't know. Which is typical of Ridwan. Thank you so much for watching. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.